On today's Truternology Meets, I'm joined by Mr. Jimmy Hickey from Findlay Hats. Hello, sir.
Hello, happy to be here, Nicky T.
So, give us some background. Who is Jimmy Hickey, and how the heck did he get involved in paintball?
Oh man,
We've got as much time as we need.
Oh man, I'll talk your face off about it. Be ready for it. So hey, I'm Jimmy Hickey. I've been playing the sport of paintball for, I think, a solid 16 years now.
Okay.
2001. That's 18 years, right? It's 2019. Yeah. That's over half my life, and been a battle. But started, standard issue. I had to go through the gauntlet of standing. Some of these kids I met at like this lake house.
Yeah.
That we'd like go to every summer. We'd stay there for a couple weeks, and these kids there had two like paintball guns. They'd always go around and shoot each other with it. And I was like, man, that looks kind of cool. And they're like, yeah, you can play with us, but you have to like go over there and stand and get shot in the back first.
Oh, that was like the initiation?
Yeah, exactly. Standard paintball initiation, which, I took one to the back. I remember it hurt a lot, but they're like, cool, man, like you can come play with us. So we played some 2-on-1 and like some random hills. And from that moment on, I was like pretty hooked on it. I came back to my hometown and got my friends kind of assembled together. And, we went out and did just the standard issue playing in the backyard. We went to a Walmart, bought I think we had blades and talons.
Yeah.
Familiar with the brass eagle blade, brass eagle talon. They got the job done for little plastic pump guns and slowly kind of evolved from there.
Now, so you had the full kind of like renegade backyard experience early on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And to be honest, it never really got any more fun than that. Those early days of playing with my friends in their backyard and building the castles and the forts and the trenches and all that stuff. I mean, that's as fun as paintball gets for sure. At least for me. I've traveled, I've been places for the sport, been all over the place, but the most positive memories are definitely from like those early renegade days, like you said.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's the honesty and that rawness that you had back then. Where nobody had any real tangible skills, right? Other than this kid was small or fast or whatever. And it was just, everything was a battle and everything was an adventure.
Yep. What I remember most about that as far as like skill, definitely the skill wasn't that big a thing, but it was whoever had the paintball marker that worked.
Yeah,
that was a pretty big piece of it, right? Yeah. Or the ones that shot the straightest.
Proper.
That was the biggest advantage against everyone there.
Yeah, it was like you're saying, the one where the ball came out, intact, was the winner.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny. It's actually the gun wall behind you. This old spider. This one right here is the one of I've seen some stuff in its day, but this Spider TL, my friend's brother's gun. I forget when he got this versus how long we've been playing at this point. But this thing was never chronoed. We backyard renegade ball didn't chrono anything, right? And
now, just to clarify, was it like if the bark came off the tree? Whoa, dude, you need to turn that down.
No, not at all. Because we'd never been to a public field. We didn't know that there was a limit. Was not a concept. We just thought oh yeah, that one hurts a lot more and they can go farther.
We used to have like the bark rule. If you shot the tree and the bark fell off, you had to turn it down.
Yeah, no, you sound a lot more legitimate than how we did it. Absolutely. That there's caution in the wind. Yeah. And the first day, this is I think probably fast forward a year or two, I got my first Tippmann 98 custom. Ooh. Upgraded from the blade to the Marauder to the Tippmann 98 custom. Okay. And my friend had his brother's Spider, this one right here, and he was mad at me because all day I'd been just shooting everyone, because I actually had one that shot straight, and I was just poning people out there. It was great, and he was so mad at me that I'd been shooting him all day. He just ran up, after he was already eliminated, he just gunned me down from about a foot away.
No.
And yep, maybe 2 feet away, but got me right in the inside of my thigh, which is a painful spot. This thing, we later left a bruise about the size of this mouse pad. It was the biggest bruise I've ever had from paintball. It hurt a lot, and yeah, we later, I ended up inheriting this gun from my friend because he got out of the sport, and I had a chrono, and I chronoed it, and it was a solid, mid-4s.
No, this could heavily attribute to why that era of your paintball past was the most fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was also the most dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. I had the most on the line. There's a bad photo of me with all my friends. And we had jerseys at this point. So this is probably 4 or 5 years into the sport.
Maybe 3 or 4 years. And you had jerseys?
A little further in. We'd already played a tournament or two, I feel like. Maybe, no, I take that back. We didn't have jerseys in this photo. But I'm looking down the barrel of the gun without a barrel cover on. It's like a photo of me looking in there. So I've been dangerous my entire life, man. I'm not that smart. I'm lucky I got both my eyeballs. I'm lucky I haven't had any major problems with it. But
Happy days.
Yeah, documented proof of me staring down the barrel of one of my first paintball markers. So
Now what kind of dragged you from that point towards you grew up Seattle area?
Grew up in Longview, so it's about 2 hours south of Seattle, hour north of Portland.
Okay, so you were in the kind of the West Coast powerhouse area of Naughty Dogs, etc. Back in the day?
More or less. The Naughty Dogs were definitely the hometown heroes at the time for sure.
Yeah,
they were the game out there, and then the Naughty Dog Junior, their Young Guns team was kind of our the big dogs.
Gotcha.
But
and then in later years, Uprising would have been the new kids on the block, so to speak.
So Uprising, and if I'm not mistaken, Uprising and Thunder came into existence at about the same time because the Naughty Dogs went when they kind of closed up shop. This is probably 2010 or so. They had to, there's a spot that needed to be filled in the Northwest paintball scene, and by dumb luck, we kind of had enough of a competitive history with people where we could, we could field a competitive team. So we put in our bid.
Is that an animal by your feet?
Yeah, I'm gonna open my door real quick.
Yeah,
let her make it.
Fantastic.
Go. Yeah. I got my little office dogs in here. There's some weird tomfoolery going on out there that needed my attention. So yeah, I mean, there's basically an open spot where the Northwest had didn't have any pro teams at the time, and it kind of evolved from there.
Now this was
AO and Tommy Tucker.
MPPL.
Yeah, this is MPPL and PSP era. Yep.
Yeah.
And I wanted 2010 or 2011, I forget exactly. It's one of those 2 years though, right? When Naughty Dogs went down, and yeah.
Now, would this also have been the same era as Jamie Beadle was over there playing?
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie Beadle, absolutely. Yeah, pretty sure he was there for the first 2 seasons with Uprising. Don't quote me on that exactly when he came on. I forget if it was
did he
where
live
that realm.
There, or did he commute?
He did some heavy commuting. Absolutely.
Wow.
And again, I feel like his residency's been an enigma to some degree. I feel like he's had it's his exact whereabouts where he lived through this is not totally on my radar. I forget if I feel like he might have had.
It's on for kind of governmental purposes. Probably isn't on anybody's radar. We can neither confirm nor deny. It
makes total sense. Exactly. He's whatever the law is, he's for sure complying with it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
A good memory with that guy, giving him a mohawk.
Oh, nice. That sounds like a good story.
He rocked it well. I was out at Tommy's parents' house, and I think cried a little bit, to be honest.
Was it a mohawk by choice, or was it another of these initiations?
Let's go with the initiation. I like that. Yeah, the Uprising initiation, and it was cool showing him the rainy Pacific Northwest and getting to spend some time with that guy.
That's
real
cool.
Good.
So Uprising at that time was AO, Nico, yourself, Tommy Tucker.
So I mean the first stage of that we had Johnny Greer involved, Blake Beerham. Did you get Rojo Tucker on there, Tommy's younger brother?
No, I've met him though.
Yeah, Ryan Rojo Tucker. He was in the original installment of Uprising.
What happened to him? Because he kind of came back.
Yeah, Rojo's a boss. No, he's just out there in the Pacific Northwest, Northwest Washington, just doing his thing. He's hunting, fishing, and in real estate. So he's staying busy with that, and it's awesome. He's doing really well. He's still a competitive snowboarder as well. He's a really gifted snowboarder. He's just an amazing athlete in general. He's always been fun to be around and watch. Like pretty much anything he picks up, he's just pretty good at.
These tuckers, anything they put their hand to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think Ryan's got a pretty diverse skill set of extreme stuff, and Tommy's pretty hyper focused on the paintball side of things and the fishing side of things.
Yeah, Tommy's killing it on the fishing.
And he's probably out on the water right now.
More than likely. Yeah, we should do a fish cam with Tommy. We'll track him down one of these days. So
agreed, 1,000%.
So how did it come about that you played for Uprising? How did that evolve?
Yeah. Okay. So when the team first kind of was born, this is an inside story you're getting here, Nikki T. This is the inside scoop because I don't get a chance to tell that very much. Yeah. Yeah. So Uprising was founded. Tommy captain, AO co-captains / they both I'm not mistaken, I made the original call to Mike Carey, who's was one of the original or one of the guys on the NPPL board. He was our first point of contact.
Carey was
no, was it Mike Carey or Mike? There's two Mikes up there. Who's Mike Carey? The other, shoot, I'm forgetting. Mike McDonald. It was Mike McDonald, not Mike Carey. Mike McDonald, yeah. From Canada, BCPPL. We had been playing BCPPLs for years, and Tommy had played with
Mike McDonald.
Oh yeah, good. I like that guy a lot.
Bonnie McDonald, great guy.
Bonnie McDonald, his wife, is my Canadian mom. I haven't seen her in a minute.
Bonnie was the real boss.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Great people. I haven't seen them both in too long, but
Me neither. Let's just do a public appeal now. Mike McDonald, Bonnie, reach out.
Yeah, come on out here. Come on down.
Come have dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, long overdue. I miss those guys. Love them both.
Yeah. Sorry, I took your attention.
BCPPL, and it was just a really fun event, and so we got to know him through that. So when we saw that opportunity to build a pro team, we kind of realized that he was our in because we knew him pretty well. We had spent a good amount of time with him through that, and so he was on the NPPL board, or I forget exactly what his connection was with it.
Yeah, that's right.
He was our point of contact, and I made I'm 95% sure I made the original call to him to let him know of the interest in Uprising actually getting in motion.
Okay.
Not that AO Tommy did a lot of the heavier lifting and actually organizing, but I think I can still take the claim for making at least the original call to get that in motion. Yeah. So we got approved to have a competitive team, and we kind of built it together. And right around this time, I got my first serious girlfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I remember it was basically either commit all this time and energy into this sport or have a girlfriend. And I also I was a little bit hesitant on if what my involvement on the team would even be. I didn't, I figured we were going to get all these ringers, and that would basically mean I wouldn't actually have a spot on the roster. And I probably had some love goggles on and was a little hazy. But so I totally chose the girl over competitive paintball. First serious relationship, I was 19 at the time, I made my decision and ran with it. And I went to Huntington Beach, and I went to, I think, one or two other events with them that year in Vegas. I think, and then gave them rides to the airport, right, and picked them up at the airport. The first season, Uprising took 2 third places in NPPL, and that was when NPPL was the glory league. NPPL had the majority of the same pro teams that are around today, or at least the top tier teams then.
Wow.
So it was a pretty cool first season ever. Uprising actually came in to the pro ranks really strong. Cole Scott was another one on the early roster.
Yeah.
Edmonton Impact player. I completely forgot about him. Great player. One of my least favorite people to play against on the field. I have a welt on the back of my neck, scar from Cole Scott bunkering me, and there's a photo of that bunkering, by the way.
He was a phenomenal player.
Really was, absolutely. Great dude. I love that guy. I haven't seen another guy in a long time, but great player.
If you could turn back time, would you have broken up with that girl?
No, not at all. Because it was a good life experience, right? No, we broke up. We did break up, absolutely.
Okay.
And,
Just clarifying that she's not going to come in on screen any moment.
Yeah, I'm not stressing. At the time, it was exactly what I wanted to do, and right. It definitely had its trade-offs. But luckily, so first season they had 2 third places. It was a good season for like a brand new pro team, and then Tommy and I were actually, there's a lot of Canadian stories. We used to go to Canada all the time. No, we were going to Whistler for like a snowboard weekend during the off season, and on the drive up there, Tommy was just talking about like how much fun playing pro was, and I really enjoy it, and I was whatever, and then said something like Tommy and I have been friends for years, right? And we've traveled all over the place, and he said something along the lines of like it would be like more fun if you were like back on the team playing with us, and it was basically like an offer to play, and at that, after having to watch a year of my friends out there competing and kicking ass and having fun and doing all this, it was just like, and on top of that, the honeymoon phase of my relationship was over. I was ready to, switch it up a little bit.
You were splitting checks by that stage?
Yeah, more. Who knows? Who knows where we were on that side of things? But I was definitely ready to So when he presented that opportunity to hop on the team, I took it and ran with it. That's kind of how it random offering. We were driving. I know the exact area. We were driving up to Whistler, Canada, and it's just like, hey, it would be fun to have you back on the team or to play with us. And I jumped on the opportunity, and the rest was.
That's awesome. Now, refresh my memory? Was this the time where Vancouver Vendetta were also playing?
I think Vendetta was around for the first season and the second season. But not after that. Yeah, they were definitely. But at this time, Vancouver Vendetta had morphed into the DBS kids, which Uprising has now morphed into the DBS kids. We've actually, if you're familiar with the Doodlebug Sports camp, they took over a lot of Vendetta, and then once Vendetta folded, we ended up slowly taking on more and more of those players.
Gotcha.
They're some of the. I mean, they are the best Northwest team. DBS around for 8 years.
I remember working with Mike on the NPPL webcast when Vendetta would also be playing. Mm-hmm. And Mike's son played on the team. I think Cole played on the team. And it was just a real kind of funky young vibe. Uprising were literally coming up through the ranks at the same time. And everything was just fresh. Nobody had any real kind of years of results behind them. Impact was still emerging as well.
Yep.
I think Impact were semi-pro at the time, right?
No, Impact was
just gone pro.
At least Uprising era, professional era, Impact had already been pro.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I remember at Huntington Beach, the first Impact, the first event they played pro, I'm pretty sure they took second, right?
Yeah,
and it was that. I remember being in the stands watching it, or is that Huntington Beach? I mean, and I remember that was pretty dang cool to see this first pro event playing it out there.
Now, whilst all of this was happening on field, what was happening off field? Had you embarked on your kind of business journey then, or?
So I was doing full-time photography at this time.
Okay.
Shooting since 2007 or so,
okay.
And so I mean, with that in mind, paintball photography is actually how I got originally. Involved into photography, was just taking photos at paintball events. And so I mean I've shot been all over the place for photo stuff, but what really got me into it was I wanted to stay involved with the paintball community, but I didn't want to be playing every weekend, and photography was kind of a way to stay involved. Shout out to my original mentor and idol, Terry Stolmeyer.
Oh, nice.
From Blacklist Media. Really good dude, and he let me borrow some of his camera gear early on and just taught me a lot of things. I remember I'd go to these Young Guns tournaments, and he'd always be there. He'd be having fun. He'd be able to do something artistic, and I always liked photography in general. And I remember just looking at that, man, he's got it all figured out. He's got a good setup. He goes out here, just takes photos. Everyone loves him. Everyone wants to wants photos by him. And this is a little bit before digital photography was super accessible.
Right.
So I was a little bit ahead of the trend when sidelines weren't that busy, and there weren't it was legitimate professionals, and there weren't a lot of people just out there doing their thing. So yeah, I got into photography through paintball stuff, and then slowly branched out and built a career as a photographer outside of it through commercial, portrait, and sport. Went to photo school, did the thing. And still to this day, I do a little bit of photo work here and there, but most of the job, directly is involved in doing photo work for Findlay.
And did you still play alongside all of that?
Yeah, a bit. And it was usually like it was mostly, it kind of varied. There's a few years where it was very heavy photo. Okay. Like probably through high school, I was doing a lot more photo stuff. But I did play divisional events. I did play some I think it was XPSL. That was like the old regional West Coast events. There used to be Pan Am Series and XPSL. So played a little bit of that, played some random local events, and then really got more like involved and competitive again with the BCPPL.
Gotcha.
Got in with the Ambush Army team up there from Ambush Paintball in Surrey. The Canadian Surrey, not the UK Surrey. I know you guys got a Surrey there, right?
Yeah. Good. That's good knowledge, man.
I know that from Beetle.
Yeah, I bet you did, because he's from around that area. He's definitely from around that area.
Tripping out about that.
When you were doing the playing and the photography, did you find that they complemented each other? In the sense of, I like. Let me
get the sense of.
No, I was just going in the sense of, I've up until this year, I've done no videography at all.
Uh-huh.
But then this year, I'm kind of in at the deep end, and I find that having played paintball, it puts me in a good place to be mindful of, hey, you should stand here because this could happen, type of thing. And I capture a lot of moves that I see other photographers or videographers don't catch because they maybe aren't aware of the potential for how things can unfold.
Yep. Okay. In that context, 1,000% yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was thinking photo to paintball, not paintball to photo. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see moves, and you see like even like how they're lined up, or you just you can totally, with an understanding for the sport, or an understanding for the players, especially like if you know who you're shooting and how they do things, you look for patterns, you look for consistent things that these people do. You're absolutely right. That's totally
absolutely no apology necessary. I have whiskey, you have coffee, so we're good.
Yeah.
So the reason I kind of ask, and the reason I think that it actually exists, is because there's a couple of young videographers rather, over here. And both of them, when they take to the field with a gun instead of a camera, they can flat out play. But I think there's a different level of processing that they're used to, that they do subconsciously, and that just allows them to pull off these great moves and be in the right place when they've got a camera in their hand.
Yeah.
And I love that. Absolutely love that. So at what point did photography not appeal less, but kind of fall down the ranks in terms of priorities, and you decided, you know what, I'm going to kill it in the custom hat game?
Okay, well, so easy. Photography is like a saturated industry. Like even if there's always space for more quality photographers. There's always a demand for photography, but the budget is way tighter than what it should be, or what it used to be. So it's more difficult to make money off it. And two, it's more saturated. So there's for every job, there's 50, 100 photographers that are applying for it or trying to take it, if it's just a single day shoot or like a position. It's a very saturated industry, and so you have to find your niche. And I did a handful of shoots for commercial clients. I did a handful of sporting events. I've shot professional soccer, football, college football, car racing, motocross. I've done a good mix of top tier professional photo work. Not a lot of money in that side of things unless you're shooting for the top side of things. So then where there is money at is in portraiture. So that's doing portraits of for example, family portraits, engagement portraits, stuff like that. That really wasn't for me. And I know they don't have it, it's not really a big thing in the UK, but over here for in the high school level courses or high school level schooling, I guess, when you're about to graduate, you get your senior portraits. So that's your 17, 18-year-old portraits before going on to university or college, whatever. So that's a thing that it's like tradition basically.
Right.
And it originally comes from, you'd get your portrait and it's like for the high school yearbook. So rather than going in and getting your standard portrait with the school photographer, you go out and hire a photographer to do it.
Oh, wow.
And the budget for that is huge, like especially in like cities like Portland and places like that. It's like people will, 300 is like the bare minimum like a portrait session will cost from a professional here. And there's clients that'll spend $5, $6, $100 to $1,000. I've had clients spend close to $5,000 on portraits because they get all these big prints and books and all this stuff. It's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, senior portraits were my bread and butter. Like, it wasn't glamorous, it wasn't fun, but it was easy money. Like, I made what I would make during the busy season in an hour what I make in a week here. At least like what I take home here. Like, it's no joke. It was a very lucrative business to be in that is extremely seasonal. So it's like there's the busy period in the summer, busy period in the fall, slow winter, slow spring. Like, it was very just feast or famine of a career. And I wanted something to. I promise I'm getting there with this story.
No, this is.
I wanted
something that's like. Don't mind me. I'm just gonna.
Yeah, get in there. Absolutely. So I wanted something that's like open 24/7, and e-commerce is open 24/7. So it's not. Our website doesn't close down after 8 p.m. It doesn't open at 6. It's open 24/7 all day.
Yeah.
And as a result, like, we can make money all day. So I wanted a way to basically like survive off of like selling a physical product, not being the product, not being the photographer, and all that side of things. So the concept for our hats was something that I actually like invented years ago when I was like, I think 12 or so. I'm gonna grab a hat over here real quick.
Yeah, love it.
So for those of you who don't know about Findlay Hats, we have this patented stampede lace on the front of our hats right there. So you can put any color lace on any color hat. You can color coordinate it. You can match your outfit, match your shoes. You can tie it in different styles really easily. So pulling the lace out like this, send it straight back. You can twist it. There's like hundreds of ways to tie it, hundreds of colors. It's a lot of variety on there. But most importantly, and this is like what the lace is mostly used for outside of an accent. It's designed to be brought down around your chin. Keep your head on your head through good times, so your hat's not going to blow off. Yeah, absolutely.
That's its actual use.
That's its main use. The stampede lace right there. So like if you're out there like rafting, or hiking through in a heavy area, surfing, like anywhere you might lose your hat, the stampede lace is designed to help keep your hat on your head. And we also have a hidden stash pocket inside all of our hats right there.
I love that part.
And a lifetime warranty. So like, we want people to wear our hats. We say they're built for good times. We want people to wear them while having good times, not being worried about them getting damaged or broken, because that's like the last thing you want someone to worry about if they're having they're wearing their hat built for that type of stuff.
I mean,
and I invented that lace tech when I was like 12 years old, like rafting down the river, down the mighty Toutle River, and I lost my hat in a rapid, and I had to spend the rest of the day in like hot 90-degree weather, like melting my face off without a hat on. I feel naked without a hat on my head. And so the next time I went rafting, I took the shoelaces out of my shoe, took a pocket knife and cut a hole in my hat, and I called it my water hat. And there's actually photos of me playing paintball with that water hat, because I wore it for years. Like I there's an awesome photo of me at USPL, whatever NPPL turned to for a couple years.
Oh yeah.
USPL, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Really cool photo. I have like a dragon Timmy. I have like one hand up, one hand like this, and the laces from the hat are like just super messy and like falling off, but super sick shot. Either way, I made it for myself, and people always like, dude, that hat's so sick. Where'd you get it? It's like, I made it myself. And they're like, well, if you make more, I'll buy them, or I'll buy one. And then so I had that idea always on ice for years, right? It was in the back of my mind, and then finally it came down time to like, okay, I need to figure out another project to work on, and that was at the top of the list of things that made sense to do. The hat company.
What else was on that list?
Good question. So like a simple like my perspective of photography.
Okay.
Book on that basically. That was just because nice. I've done my method to getting some of my jobs like has been far from traditional through photography.
Okay.
And just it was just going to be a pretty like simple overview of like how to make it as a photographer. And actually it's funny because I probably have 3/5 of it done, maybe a little less. I haven't looked at it in ages, but yeah, no, I totally like spent weeks writing this thing out. It's pretty pretty simple. It was just going to be a simple little ebook. Wasn't going to be like super expensive, but because most of the photo books are written by like older established like professionals, and it kind of seemed like a good niche that like my photo experience, like because I'd been shooting professionally for years at this point, like I didn't go into that talking about it much, but totally like had a cool portfolio for being like 19, 20, 21-ish. Had some shot some stuff that not a lot of people in my age group had done, so it's kind of written for that group and younger.
I think it fascinates me that, like you say, you've been an established photography professional for a number of years, and then you made a decision of this magnitude. Now that's a very different kind of background to somebody who didn't have that luxury of a decent portfolio and was struggling, and who had to make a decision of, how do I kind of kickstart this process again? And it's kind of
start from zero.
Yeah. But it's a great basis for making a decision to go from, comfortable is the wrong word, but you're in a position where you don't have to jump, yet you make a kind of a life-changing decision. And I love it. It fascinates me. Yeah. Absolutely fascinates me.
Right. It was definitely like a spooky decision. And that's one thing that talk about, like any creative watching this can relate to, that whenever you're bringing something into the world that doesn't already exist, that's like what like creatives like, live for. That's like, they're taking something from here and then bringing it into like the tangible world. But you always run the risk of like rejection, which is like a hardwired fear that everyone has. And a lot of people like let that fear of rejection stop them from doing what they want to do, stop them from, creating a podcast, to stop creating like all this stuff they want to do because they're afraid it's not going to, they're afraid people are going to judge them, or they're not going to like it or anything like that. And, getting past that stage is something that I preach heavily, because it's very, it's important. You just have to trust your artistic vision. You have to trust your gut enough to just do it. And Nike said it right. Just do it. That's like, I love that quote because it's so simple, but it's like, just do it. Like seriously, like if you want to do it, you can't be held back from it. If you can't let the rejection and failure stop you from doing that stuff.
I mean, I'm guessing, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the first year in which you started working for yourself in that nature, every day you probably had a doubt, was this the right thing to do? And you have to kind of drive yourself through that doubt phase, sometimes on a daily basis. And it's a combination of, stubborn pig-headedness and self-belief. And, arrogance is probably not the right word, but there's a hint of arrogance in there, in that, I can do this. And it's how you drive yourself through that phase, because this year 2019 is that phase for me where every day I doubt, is this the right thing to do for me, my kids, etc. And you just kind of have to, like you say, just do it. There is no template. There is no, in month 4, day 15, this is going to happen. Nobody knows if you're going to make it to month 4, day 15. So you just have to go. You just have to go. When you started Findlay Hats, what was the goal? What was the original aspiration? We're going to do XYZ. What was XYZ?
XYZ. Good. Yeah. Honestly, the original goal was just to build something that I'd be proud of. Findlay is my middle name, the way to commemorate my grandpa.
And is it a family middle name?
Yep. Well, family last name on his end, but he didn't have any daughter or any sons.
Right.
His name would more or less die with me on that end. So it's and he passed away right before the company launched.
Oh wow.
Was a way to commemorate his name. So really, like the early goals it was kind of a side project, to be honest. Like it wasn't not that it was given side project attention, but it was more like, okay, I need something to make money through the winter. Like what is going to be the best way to do that? And, out of the other ideas as well, other than just that book. And it was like, of those ideas, this one seems like it has the highest potential of, going where I want it to go. Sure. And I think the immediate thing was just basically some way to just survive off of, really, like just selling up hats to, pay the bills and keep it in motion. But, where it went from there, I don't know. We do have the original business plan that I haven't read back on, which probably answers these questions in a little bit more detail.
And what those original goals were. You working at that time?
It was me and my ex, Sarah, who's still involved with the company. She's our co-founder here and our head seamstress.
Was she the one that stopped you from playing?
Nope, different one. I got too much dirty laundry. Too much dirty laundry. But no, we got a great working relationship. It's super chill. But yeah, we founded the company together. I kind of spearheaded a lot of the operations and the marketing and sales and that side of things, and she was has been really on the production end and more silent partner. But she also has totally saved the day in many ways on in different areas where I've had a stupid decision that she's called me out on it, and definitely keeps me grounded. Yeah. She's very good at just you're saying it how it is, and it's good to have that attitude around here. Absolutely. But yeah, she's still involved to this day. Everything's chill between us. Good working relationship. So it's just the two of us in the living room in a floating home, and
in a floating home, did you say?
Oh yeah, little floating home, absolutely, on the mighty Columbia River.
Wow, you don't get much more abstract than that.
Right? Yeah, it was far from ideal to run a company out of, but a great place to live during the summer. Wake up every morning, jump in the water, and just can't be beat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How long did you guys keep that going?
About a year and a half we were in there. So I want to say we had the company for about a year in that spot, a little under a year, probably 9 months or so. And then we moved to an actual house. And ran Findlay out of a garage for the next couple of years. Garage.
When you were kind of floating, what was the kind of turnover at that stage? Ballparkish. What are we talking
about? Hats?
As in how many hats a month?
Yeah, it was probably 5 to 10 orders a day, roughly.
Okay. I mean it
was pretty solid. Maybe 2 to 10. There would be days with we for the first couple of years we'd hit maybe one day a month where we wouldn't sell anything, and then maybe do 4 or 5 the next day, 7 or 8, 1 or 2. It varied all over the place, but it was again, when it was just the two of us, it was pretty easy to. Our overhead was very low. Our advertising budget was extremely low. It was we relied heavily on word of mouth, so it wasn't a huge thing. And that at the time in the floating home, we had barely any infrastructure. We had a handheld grommet press. We had a sewing machine. And then we had just a few of the basics for what we do to install the pockets and do that stuff. And then everything else was outsourced.
And a boatload of passion. That's what you had.
Yeah, boatload of passion. Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely. Wow. And I talk about, you mentioned diving into something you want to do.
Yeah.
Passion was a huge part of that fueled the fire for it. Cause as a, I don't like saying creator, but as a creator, I enjoy building things. I enjoy taking that thought and materializing it into the world. And a business is a very in-depth look, or an in-depth version of creating, because there's just so many different moving parts that all this effort goes towards building this onward and upward. And the passion, if you're passionate about what you do, it's easy to dive right in and devote the time and energy, and all the sacrifices make it worthwhile.
Absolutely.
To this day, we're 6 years in and we're still, daily sacrifices. I'm working long ass weeks. It's no joke, but I love it, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I think if you're fueled by your passion, like you said, it'll, make all those things worth it.
100%. Now, back at the start, were you guys doing custom then? Or was it these are our 10 designs, pick from these?
It was, so one cool thing about the customization level of our hats is you can actually put any lace color on any hat. So at least every order can be customized to the lace color of your choice. And so we've always had that simple element of customization. But then as far as actual hat decoration for like collaborations, for example, where we make a hat for like a team or a store or like a business or another like, clothing company, anything like that. We've offered that, I think, from about the first year, maybe a little bit around like year one or so, we started offering that to other people. And that's been a pretty cool piece of our business as well, just because it's given us an opportunity to, one, it's a good, source of, it's a good just, thing for us to work on. They're always ordered in bulk. We do at least 24 hats at a time for each company or team. So it's, that's just nice for like the consistency. But the thing that's really cool about it is our hats sell well. Like if you put our hat next to another hat, ours has more features, a lifetime warranty, more of a conversation piece, and has features that other hats don't have, basically. So it's really cool because we'll make these hats for these people, be it a team or whatever, or a store, and they sell out within a couple weeks, and they're like, wow, we've never sold hats this well. So it's cool to make a product that actually like helps other businesses as well, right? Yeah. Like it's definitely nice to have like, see so many reorders from all these different companies. And we make hats for, coffee shops to breweries to like lacrosse and baseball teams, to, a good handful of paintball teams. Like it's just cool to be able to create something that actually helps these businesses and people.
Which paintball teams actually have their own hats?
So we've done the Outlaws, Seattle Thunder, Seattle Uprising through Under Industries. We just are actually working on some right now for Aftermath.
Oh, nice.
Let's see, the like more divisional stuff. We've done things for a handful of like Northwest teams. Trying to think of what is that? DZ All Stars. Okay. Austin, Ohio. We sponsored those guys for a while, and I think our main point of contact might not be involved in the team anymore. So we got a couple of paintball things in the queue right now. Nothing at the top of my mind though. We made hats for Go Sports last year and Empire, and cool. It's definitely cool to be able to like, shout out to let's see, oh god, that's embarrassing. I'm right on the spot right now. I'm drawing a blank. That's too much. Okay, I'm done.
We'll come back to that. We can edit that in. That's no problem. Now, if a team is out there watching this, and they're thinking, what, we could do with our own custom hat. What's the process? What do they have to do?
Yeah, super simple, Nicky T. We got a collaboration form on our website. Just go to, I think it's like, see, it's like
See, we can with the magic of editing, we can put that website address up right now.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. So yeah, exactly. That link right there. Shout out to editing. And if they don't go that way, if someone's like listening to it and not watching, go to findlayhats.com, business inquiries, and then collaboration info. And then there's a form to fill out. Mention you found out about us through this podcast or through your friends at Hickey, and we'll hook you up with our top tier pricing regardless of quantities.
There we go. So, perfect. Yeah, love it.
That's the homie hookup. And generally, the paintball community is something that like we try to get back on, and we try to do what we can for paintballers to we know you guys. It's an expensive sport. It's an expensive process. So the last thing you guys want to worry about is having to spend money on hats. So we generally hook up our paintball communities even without the Nicky T hookup. We'll give them the extra Nicky T hookup. No worries there.
In terms of the hookups, one of the things I have most admired on your website is your portfolio of sponsored athletes.
Nice.
You have every base covered there.
Right? Yeah, we need a mountain biker up there. We're missing a mountain biker.
You don't need a mountain biker. You got an alligator wrestler.
Right? Good. I'm happy you saw that, Nick.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yep. He was the guy, and he was the guy who made me want, there's no way I'm not going to buy one of these hats.
Right? Yeah, speaking of that, I need to send that guy a care package. I feel like we haven't sent him one in a couple months, so he's long overdue for some hats.
Out of everybody, he probably needs one the most.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should come with beer, for sure. Because, he's putting it down.
Absolutely. What a weird profession, but yeah, good guy.
Did he reach out to you, or did you find him?
So I think he reached out to us with just a photo. It was like, hey, check it out. This is what I do. It's like, whoa, that's really cool. Like, we want to sponsor you. He's like, whoa, okay, cool. And, that's any of the kids at home trying to figure out how to get sponsored by any company. We could have had a whole podcast talking about sponsorships, like what to do.
I mean, this is like, we can talk about anything. This is great.
Cheat sheet on our website that goes into like exactly what we look for with sponsorships. And one, if you're a unique athlete or you do something cool or a style or something that really stands out, like that's what we look for.
Yeah.
Like that's a big piece of it. And that's something like because he's, a memorable character. Alligator.
This is actually, really good content in the sense of so many paintball teams look for sponsorship, yet they're just bland. They fall into the abyss of, every other team out there. Especially if they've done the blanket approach of copy every company rep into that email.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and they forget to change the name.
And spell sponsorship wrong.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That's like, I've had plenty of those in my time. But it's, just like the Alligator wrestling dude. How could you say no to that guy?
Yeah, absolutely. And we get approached daily. Like,
I bet.
Every single day we have people trying to reach out for sponsorships. And we have we have generic on our end, we have generic copy and paste results on Instagram and Facebook.
Right.
And we literally just say, hey, thanks for reaching out. Fill out a sponsorship form. Check out our sponsorship cheat sheet, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But to the basics of what we're looking for is people need to remember, if you're not a professional top tier player, you need to be able to do something to give back to your sponsors. Like you need to, it needs to be mutually beneficial. Like, if be it buying their gear at a discount, which is what a lot of people consider sponsorship at this stage, is just like, you get 40% off whatever they sell.
Yeah.
But it's like, take it to the next step. Like, you should be like creating content for them. Like, we love like when we have people going out of their way to like make a little commercial for us or take a really cool photo of our hats and like different things like that. Like, in a paintball team to go out of their way to be like, doing like a test on like a product they want to be sponsored by or a company they want to be sponsored by. Like, there's a whole lot of opportunities if you want to make some noise for your team, if you want to make some, like, get some sponsorship and get some coverage and that side of things. And it's like, you can't just reach out and expect people to want to send you free stuff because you played Division III paintball and took 4th place last year at one event, that's not like, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, there's like, unless you're just buying a lot of stuff in bulk from this, this company, you're not really doing much to give back to them, and it's like, I feel like a lot of paintball or sponsors might not be super picky on stuff. But at the same time,
definitely aren't, but I mean, the way I would personally look at this is you only have one head. What are you going to put on there?
Mm-hmm.
Run of the mill or something custom? Let's be custom.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of
all stuff,
what's the one sponsorship request that you turned down that you wish you hadn't?
Okay, this isn't one that we turned down. It's one that we lost.
Oh.
So when we first launched, talk about like, starting from nothing, our sponsored athletes were a huge piece of what helped us grow.
Yeah.
Made the mistake of being not selective enough early on. We sponsored too many athletes from one small town in Oregon. And as a result, that town is one of my favorite towns on the planet, Hood River, Oregon. Okay. And as a result, one of the kids that we sponsored, who was very into our brand and like, came to our events and was very like pro Findlay, started seeing that like we had sponsored like other people from his school and other people that like weren't at his tier of like, he's like a top tier snowboarder. And we had sponsored people that were like not even in his category or close to it. And as a result, it kind of like, for whatever reason, like he just thought it was too, like it wasn't cool to be sponsored by us anymore and kind of dropped us. And, it's a lesson learned, like at the time, lesson learned the hard way, because he now is like, basically on track to being an Olympian. He's still a top tier snowboarder who competes at like the USAA slope style or whatever the big, stuff is. And while he's not like winning, he's still competing at the top level. And he's like, I think 16 or like very young and very like, so he's the one that got away from that we sponsored that we just kind of lost. It's a bummer. Nice kid, nice family.
Can he wrestle alligators though?
He can't, no. And I mean, I'm sure like, if you were to go up head against an alligator, he would probably get chomped to death. So at least we got that guy who's holding it down. So yeah, he's the one that got away, that we did sponsor and lost him. Past that, yeah, that's the first one that comes to mind.
I mean, you still have Jay Stu though.
Oh yeah, Jay Stu, the All-American. Even
Tell us a Jay Stu story.
Oh God, I just uploaded a beautiful photo of him to his Facebook a couple days ago. But
I saw that.
Yeah, so like that's that. I just ran into him that day. Like this is 2011, I want to say, and he would just hitchhike up and down the West Coast with a huge backpack, like a fishing net, his 27-inch iMac in his arms, like keyboard, just like that's how he traveled. He'd hitchhike like that all over the place. And
didn't he hitchhike throughout South America?
Yeah, he hitchhiked to like I forget how like Patagonia or even further, like through like and I mean that story is a beautiful story all the way through. But
pure J's too.
Yeah, it's very yeah. Yeah, I mean he's a wild animal, that's for sure. His the fact that I don't have the confidence. I picked up hitchhikers. But I'm not trying to hitchhike anywhere. Yeah.
You could never pick up a hitchhiker as good as Jay Stu.
I don't know. I picked up this old man that was very wise and very godlike. Like he had some very wise, intense stuff to say.
And he was hitchhiking at that age?
What was that?
He was like a mature hitchhiker?
He was like probably 80 years old, maybe 70. He was like,
are you sure he was hitchhiking and you didn't kidnap him?
Oh yeah, he was lucid. He was an interesting character, extremely wise, and it was like I was driving back from like Idaho or something by myself, and picked him up, and he was just like a crazy experience. Had just some very epic stuff to say, and so he gives Jay Stu a run for his money is all. Okay. But some of the living with Jake Stewart, some of my fondest memories. That was a good time.
You lived with him as well?
Oh yeah, I lived with him in downtown Portland for at least a year.
Oh.
Yeah. He got a gun pulled on him once.
Oh, yeah. This is different to the AO gun story, right?
AO's gun story is way more legitimate and scary.
Yeah.
Jake Stewart's gun story was just stupid, overreaction in that scenario. But no, the AO one is like I'm amazed how that's intense. Yeah, I still have PTSD at that situation. I've heard that story a couple times, and it's just oh no.
Yeah, every single time it makes you kind of gasp, right? And it's like
just going from 0 to 60 really quick.
Yeah.
And, they're lucky that nothing, everyone turned out okay from it. But I know that's like, that's got to do some damage, mentally.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, what a kind of a rich culture you've grown up in the sense of, the Ormrod brothers, the likes of Tommy, the Tuckers, Jay Stu. That's a kind of, plus all the kind of the Naughty Dogs, the kind of Seattle Thunder influences, etc. Plus the Canadians, and Vancouver Vendetta, all of those guys. I mean, that's some history.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny because the history out here is slept on. Like the regular paintball scene. I mean, granted, I'm sure every, area, not just stateside, but, overseas, I'm sure your neck of the woods has its own stories and badass stuff too. And, it's like, I'm sure it's like a diverse zone, but it's like, this zone is totally slept on. There's some cool stuff going on out here all the time. There's not a lot of stuff documenting it. There's not a lot of like, the stories are pretty slept on, but it's like, there's some epic stuff that's gone down out here. And there's at some point there'll be a good documentary highlighting it all.
I mean, it's Paintball's Murder Mountain, right? It's exactly that. It's just, like you say, flies under the radar for the most part. Now, how far, because like the only thing I really kind of have on my radar from that part of the globe is Super Game, right?
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Yeah, Super Game's crazy. It's a really good time. And it's always scheduled on a spring NXL event. So
every single
generally,
time.
Yeah, it's poor timing. I wish that Super Game would just adjust the schedule a little bit. But what's funny about it is it's like the paintball community out here is like not that crazy. Like when I was like, again, like first getting into the tournament scene, you know, we'd have 20 to 30 young guns teams at events. So that's the 16 and under division.
Right.
Like, you know, and like now, like even like there won't be 16 to 20 teams for the whole event,
right.
like for all the divisions. You know, there's 0 young guns. It's like, so it's definitely dwindled down a lot out here. But Super Game's crazy because it's like there's like 1,600 people there, and it's like, where are you guys during the rest of the year? Like people live for that thing. Like it's an amazing turnout for sure. Really fun event, and you know, as far as Northwest scenario goes, it's you know, it's great.
I mean,
it's
they
top
come
tier
from all over the country, right?
Yeah, a handful of people travel for it for sure. I think more so like California, Idaho,
right.
Canada come down for it. I don't know if people travel too far past that, because I know there are plenty of other scenario offerings out there. But yeah, it's a really fun event, really cool like community vibe at it, and it's a blast. It's always a bummer to miss it because of NXL. But
yeah, I bet. In terms of NXLs, are you guys doing like the trade circuit there? Or are you still, what's your involvement currently, if any, with NXL?
What do you mean the trade circuit?
As in, like, do you have a booth for Findlay at the NXLs?
Yeah, no booths. Nah, I mean, events are, you know, our goal at events are to break even, like even at like local events. And
I mean, I guess that's a lot of hats to cover costs.
All the time. Exactly. It's like, that said, I mean, close a couple big deals, it might be worth it, but honestly, when I go to the events, it's like mostly a vacation at this stage. Like I'm like the assistant coach with Uprising, and that I'm pretty off hands for the most part. I just help AO where I can and help the team where I can with like nothing too crazy. So it's a pretty chill weekend, and I'm not really trying to like run a booth or worry about the stress of a booth or that either, or fly anyone out to run a booth.
In terms of Uprising, then, favorite player on the current roster.
Ooh. Big Nick. Absolutely.
I feel you played it safe.
No, I mean that's just because he's been on it since I was on it, you know.
But
so it's like
he's almost not so big Nick now.
I know he's just normal Nick, but I mean with the Nick,
Nick.
Stay. I mean I love watching him play. You know, it's too bad. I really liked watching Joel play. It's cool he went to Aftermath, but he was always watch out there. You know, I love Brandon too. Like as a center player, like when I played 7-man, front center was my spot.
Right.
And Brandon he's so good at like what he does out there.
He's a flatliner though, right?
What do you mean by flatliner?
As in like Brandon could shoot 6 people and come in exactly the same as if he got shot off the break. Yes. You know, I would never play poker with him.
Yeah, nope, that's a very accurate description of Brandon, and totally, he's you know, he definitely he doesn't wear his emotion on his sleeve like Graham. I mean, dude, I love all those guys. I guess Brandon as a center player has always appealed to me. It's just funny because he's so good at what he does in the back. Yeah. But just he fills that spot of playing up front center, and when he needs to, and just like. It's just cool. You're so right with him being a flatliner. His attitude out there.
I mean, it's an admirable quality in many senses. I think it's, you know, maybe 5% of the time you actually want to shake him and just go, come on, give us something, you know? Are you happy?
Oh, God. Yeah, that's a good description of him for sure. I love Borromeo too. Like, or however you want to, like, fucking Alex. His playing style also is just so consistent and just fun to watch.
He's the super game of pro paintball players, where he just kind of bubbles under the tide, right? So
I mean, he just holds it down.
Yeah.
You know, then I've been playing with Tommy for years, right? And it's always cool seeing him going out there and doing work.
I think Tommy's improved the most in the past couple of seasons.
I think he's getting worse.
I think maybe I just paid attention in his bad matches 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's what it is.
So
again, just holding the team together. He's good at getting the team stoked and, you know, going out there and doing work every time too. Yeah, it's nice seeing him in the snake. Cause I remember like getting back to like D1 on Amped a long time ago. Like when I first started playing with him, he was always in the back, like always in the corner and just like making it rain and like.
Right.
So I seen him like a front snake guy or second snake guy. James, another person that consistently impresses me.
James has come up real good.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's cool seeing, coming through the ranks of working with Uprising, and the fact that he's been hungry and make, he's the only one who has to travel like a long ways to.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, because he moved out to, I'm pretty sure it's Colorado.
Okay.
And so it's just, he has to commute to practice and do all that stuff. And
wow.
So it's cool seeing him because he's like really the only direct outsider for the most part. That like the Northwest, everyone that lives in the Northwest now has more or less, been playing together for years. And when I talk about Young Guns, a lot of us played Young Guns together.
Yeah.
A lot of us played together. Like, so we've all kind of grown up through the sport, even in different camps.
What was like? What's up with AG? Is he still around, or is he?
He's dealing with some injury stuff, and I can't speak on it too much past that, as I don't really know the details. I hope he's back. He's got a great attitude and is a very positive person to have around in the pits. I was bummed to not have him in Vegas, but I know he's still in our team chat, so I hope he can, make a comeback and come back full force. But I'm pretty sure he's focused on like business stuff in school and that side of things. We had the interesting pickup with Scotty Knight. He's a previous Thunder player who, another old friend who used to play Young Guns together. He actually got us kicked out of a Young Guns event once because he didn't have his waiver signed.
Oh, by parents?
No, by the event promoters. They kicked us out because he didn't have a waiver signed, and he was kind of our sandbagger for that event too. And either way, Scotty Knight, good guy, known that guy for ages, and it's cool because we've been trying to make him jump ship for a long time, and finally this year he was ready to do it, and he vibes with the Uprising way pretty well, and that's something we haven't touched on. But Uprising's a unique pro team. Like we definitely are not very good. Yeah. We definitely have a unique way of doing things and have a pretty tight budget. Like a lot of stuff's paid for out of pocket, and there's not a lot of major backing on stuff. And we do have some great sponsors. Shout out to Virtue, shout out to Mac Dev, PB Rack, obviously Tommy's company.
Sure.
And Under Industries, but we're still it's a tight budget. We're flying out to practice, professional teams and having to pay, our every expense affiliated.
Yeah. That's the reality, right?
Yeah, and that's again fall back on the passion. All these guys are passionate about the sport. They want to play with their friends. Like everyone who's on the team now is not a sellout. Everyone on this team has had opportunities to go play other teams. There'd be more, all of their expenses would be covered, and more of it would be. And the people that are still here are doing it because they love the team, they love their friends, and they want to win with their friends. They're not trying to just play for free or get everything covered. They're literally doing it for the love of the game with their friends, even that some sacrifices. And no disrespect to anyone that did follow the money with the sport. It's like you've been playing for years, you have every right to get paid for it, or at least get your expenses covered at the bare minimum. But the core guys on Uprising now are they're lifers. And
I guess the irony in that situation is that they're the ones who actually deserve to get paid as well. Because they've paid their dues over decades, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You can't there's, as you rightly say, Brandon holds it down, Graham holds it down, Alex holds it down. They're all ballers. So how much does the team miss the likes of Joel, miss the likes of AO, etc.?
At least we got AO in the pits coaching, and he's doing a great job. He's the head coach now. Craig Sumner stepped down. But AO does a really good job, with it, and he's, a valuable asset to have around there because his paintball IQ is off the charts. And coming from that's, never been a strong set on my end. I probably have the lowest IQ out of anyone on the team in the paintball world. My skill set was front, center, and bunkering people. So having him in the pits has been awesome. On that end, and he's still learning his way as a coach and taking more charge in that end. So at least we have him in the pits. Losing Joel sucks because Joel is one of our tight friends, and same with Nate. Losing Nate a couple or 2 seasons ago was rough. And
right.
But again, he's he's one of the original DPS kids with those guys, or at least one of the old school DVS kids. I mean, they've been playing for years and years, but again, they got to do what they got to do. And if the road of, not having to ride the struggle bus for a little while is the move, then, that's the move for them. But it's still, it's a bummer because Joel would get everyone stoked and get everyone pumped up, and was definitely not was a good asset to have it in the pits as well. So it's, a bummer.
Joel was probably the one guy who, if the elevator broke down, you'd hope Joel was in there. Because you would not get bored.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming it's not like a closed door for those guys, for like the Nates and the Joels. If they ever went, hey, you know what? We didn't, make a choice. We want back in. Uprising 2020. Just saying.
Nikki, I'm not qualified. I'm not qualified to share if we let them back on or not.
Ooh,
yeah. That's above my pay grade.
Yeah. No, that's let's make AO make those calls. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but no, we're still tight with those guys, and wish them the best regardless of anything like that. But it's always rough losing friends and losing people like that to other teams, and I mean that's just part of the sport, right? Like they offered that offer,
It's such a small community that you're quite right. You got to just sometimes swallow any pride and just say we wish you all the best.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I want my friends to succeed.
Correct.
Whatever that looks like, that's fine. Like, does it bum me out to see them more? Yes, absolutely. But it's like, it is what it is.
Yeah, definitely. When there's beer behind the bar, you'll still share a drink. So
just make them pay for it because they got deep pockets now, right?
Now, we actually have. So we're coming over to ICC in July, playing as the Rushers, and we actually have AO and Nico playing. So dragging AO back out because some 10-man mech. I think that's where these guys are going to shine. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a dynamic duo right there.
Yeah. I think we last played on like a Virtue Factory team called the Von Schnitzels in 2017 with them. And they both could hold it down.
Absolutely.
An arm rod in each corner.
Yep. No, that's how it was in 7-man too. Yep. One in each corner. That was definitely the move. And you just felt real secure with that setup.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yep. And generally, if it came down to the last two players alive, it'd be both of them dug in those corners, and they could.
It would.
It's definitely a good combo with those guys behind you.
Yeah. And it's kind of, I think it's a Northwest paintball thing because you don't meet many people from that area who can't play and don't have great stories.
Yeah, I'll take that, absolutely. It's gritty paintball out here, absolutely. Yeah. And we definitely from practicing in other places and seeing how they do things in just different zones. It's definitely a different scene out here for sure on that end. And for a long time we bred some really top tier teams in the divisional ranks. There was, I remember in the mid 2000s, there was a long series of time where Northwest teams would pretty much consistently be doing top 3 across different divisions.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's still plenty of good Northwest teams, but there's been a lot less making noise over the last few years. So,
was it just the culture of how you grew up in paintball? You had to fight to succeed.
I think so. I think the playing style out here was just a little different too. I think the fact that it was cold, and wet, made you just adapt to different conditions and different playing styles. And I really don't know too much past that because it's kind of all an opinion based thing. But
I mean that actually rings true because I remember in my Nexus days, and when I played a bit on Shockwave before that, you'd come out to the MPPLs and in California, and when the sun was out, everyone was happy and dandy. Bit of rain, and everyone's like,
"Yep,
when are the crickets coming?" So this is like the plague. Let's start building an ark.
Yep. Yeah.
Whereas Northwest is probably much the same as it is here.
Oh yeah, pretty damn similar. Yeah.
You just get
Have you been out
liquid sunshine.
You been out to the Northwest yet?
Only very, very briefly. So I figure it is a trip that requires time to do it justice. So
you gotta coordinate it ahead of time. We'll get you on some fish with Tommy.
I mean, there's fish with Tommy. There's hitchhiking with Jay Stu, and who knows where that could end.
You gotta go to South America if you want to hitchhike with Jay Stu right now.
He's only there temporarily. So
that's just what he wants you to think. He's gonna lose his passport and live there for the rest of his life. We're never gonna see him again.
He's already lost his passport. So
yeah. Northwest, good old spot, absolutely. I'd love to statistically see though, because every time it rains, any event I've ever been to with the rain, it's always like, cool, we got the upper hand. Like we know how to play in the rain. But I'm curious if like statistically if that actually is like a thing over time.
There's definitely someone out there who will look that up and find out for us. Let us know.
Yeah, the Russian Legion statistics guy. He probably has time to do that.
4 of them. Yeah, exactly. There's an army. There is an absolute army. Right. Quick one before we go, Jimmy.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Getting back to business and the hats, I'm assuming that the majority of your business is stateside. A lot of the viewers of this, podcasty chat are going to come from outside of the States. New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Europe, etc., Scandinavia.
Nice.
Everything's still accessible to them?
Absolutely. We ship worldwide at findlayhats.com. And if you're in Australia and New Zealand, we have an Australian distributor who about to go live in the next week or two. That's findlayhats.co.au, I think.
Nice.
They have free shipping in Australia and New Zealand. And we also have a distributor in the UK. Granted, their selection is pretty limited.
Who's that?
It's like umerch.co.uk, I think is the name of the website. They have a handful of hats too.
Nice.
But we ship worldwide right from findlayhats.com. If you're looking for collaborations, we do collaborations for people all over the planet as well. So not a problem at all. We live in a global marketplace, and we're not trying to keep it stuck to just the United States. We have $12 flat shipping to anywhere on the planet, plus like duties and import fees based on whatever your country has on it. But we try to basically that $12 covers the cost of shipping to get it to you, or at least gets close to it. Usually it's like $20 to ship. But
is it just hats, or
we have beanies, we have sweatshirts, we have shirts, but mostly hats. Mostly, we have bent bill hats as well, not just all the flat brim like that. So we have the bent bill style. We have 5 panels. We have a couple truckers. We're always adding more styles to it as well. There's a few things that we're in the works with as well that are fairly like paintball related as well. So still under development on that end, but we might make a little bit more of a focus on the paintball side of things as well. Like there's a lot of people wear our beanies on the field. Like Uprising, probably like a third of the guys are wearing a Findlay beanie somewhere in there, or at least during practice. Maybe half in practice. And just something kind of more geared towards like paintball headwear situation.
Nice.
On the drawing board there.
Right. Final question. Favorite marker on the wall behind you? Dun, dun, dun.
That's so tough.
Oh.
The IR3, the cut and carved IR3 was probably the first one in this exact colorway. Was the one that was on my wall, in my in my bedroom for years, and it was this exact one. I've had dreams about this one, like legitimately had dreams about it, and it has no significance to me as a player. Like I had a champagne IR3 for a little while right when I started, and it just didn't shoot very nice at all.
Okay.
But this is the one that every time I hold it, it just kind of I get to check that box off of like a childhood dream of wanting this one. But honestly, every single marker back there has some story affiliated with it that I could talk your face off about. But as far as the first one that comes to mind, this one, just because it was one of those ones that just as a kid, I just dreamt of this gun. And here it is on our wall right now.
You've earned yourself a bonus question.
Ooh, all right.
What's the marker on the wall that has the best story that you can tell us? I love how they all have a story.
Honorable shout out is this DM6 because I played my first national event with this gun. It was my friend that I inherited from him. That's the honorable mention. But the best story, I kind of already went over the spider, but this Ion, I guess story with it, it did me well for so long. It didn't have this mongoose regulator on it. It had a CP reg that I think I took off and put on something else.
That's been through the grinder.
Oh yeah, that's been through the Dremel. It's got my name on the back of it. Back when Dynasty on the Dynasty Shockers had the Dynasty. So this is a Dynasty Ion body with the rubber removed.
Okay.
Got the high speed neck, and then it's got where is that?
It looks like there's some highly skilled gunsmithing on that body.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all done with my friend's mom's Dremel.
And dog, by the looks of it.
No, cat.
Oh yeah. Did it say hats on the other side?
Yeah. So get that. How's that for Erie? I wrote this gun was called Hats.
Oh really?
Like Northwest people knew me. They're like, "How's Hats doing?" This was literally called Hats because do you remember the era where people would write like hate on the side of it?
Yeah.
Scratch in hate. I wrote Hats before I started a hat company. Way before I started a hat company. Circa 2006, I want to say. And so this was called Hats for when I used it all the time, and it's been through a lot, and it always shot amazing.
That's probably the best value for money gun.
Oh, for sure, 1,000%. We put these. This is 2006, 2005ish. We put one of the most expensive ones at the time, one of like $300 at the time, and they shot head to head, amazing, like almost the exact same, barely any difference. Yeah, Smart Parts really knocked the original Ion out of the park. I remember 2005 LA Open, right when they PSP LA Open, right when they like kind of launched these, and just seeing people just like diving into those steep ass with the Ions and just doing well.
I've got to ask, what else have we got on the wall?
Oh goodness! So we got some Splatmasters back here.
Okay. See
one of these ones still works. One of them doesn't. But Super Game, if I do make the Super Game, I usually play with the Splatmaster for a lot of it. Okay. I have a lot of good confirmed kills with these Splatmasters too. And usually I kind of play up the crowd just a little bit. And I kind of like go, when I have the Splatmaster, I'll go to like the sidelines where like people are watching and try to do work with the Splatmaster right there. And definitely got some people hooting and hollering when I was getting people with these things. So love the Splatmaster. This Rat Impulse has no story, but the original Rat Impulse that I owned has a story. I traded like 3 hats for this one, by the way. So you guys are going to have 3 hats for this Rat Impulse. I don't think it works, but it looks good on the wall. But I had one of these when it was like one of my first, like, I think I went from the Tippmann 98 to an autococker maybe. And this was like my first electronic gun.
Okay.
Or one of my first at least. And I remember I was so excited to get it. It was, again, one of those things I dreamed of and really wanted and like, finally could afford to get it. It was the Rat Junior, by the way, not even the main Rat, without the eyes and all that stuff. And I got it. It worked. It was just inaccurate, bad. I didn't know about, like, I forget the term there, like the hammer. Is that where you put the bolt pin in?
Yeah.
In front of it, and then cycled it, so I bent it.
Stoved into the
I didn't know what I was doing. And so the way, sent it back, got it fixed, and then it still didn't shoot well with compressed air. My buddy's like, dude, try it with CO2. And I was like, no, dude, this is like an impulse. You don't use CO2 on one of these, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, just try it. We tried it, just ripped with CO2. Just amazing. And either way, so that's a quick story on that one. Dragon, I just got used from a friend. Same with the Viking found on eBay. Ooh.
Oh, the Viking's a good find.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a cool color too, that like dark green.
Yeah.
Okay, so apologies if I mispronounce his name. He's a good guy, and I know him, but Tyler Machad.
Okay.
His Dynasty Shocker, lost the jewel on that side. That he used, I forget what season, but I think one of the like Dynasty's like most winning season.
Yeah, that's going to be what? 2000. I want to say late. Oh, would that be 2007, 8, something like that?
We're in that zone. I think would line up right with the SFT Dynasty, but don't quote me on that. I definitely don't know my history that well. For the record, favorite pro team outside of Uprising is still Dynasty. Still. Anytime if Uprising's out, I'll be rooting for Dynasty, and if Dynasty's out, I'm not too concerned on where it goes. So this one, I traded some hats again for one of Tyler's old, it's like a purple Dynasty jersey.
Okay.
And I was pretty excited about that come up. Trade hats for a lot of cool things, apparently.
Man, these hats are like gold dust.
Right? Absolutely. And the thing is, I got thousands of them in the warehouse over there, so it's an easy trade. If anyone has cool paintball markers they want to trade for hats, just hit me up. There's still a handful of things that I'm looking to add to that wall back there. They don't even have to work.
Come on, what's on the wish list? Let's throw it out there. Let's make it happen.
An ICD BKO, because that was another one that I really wanted when I was just getting into electronics. A carnivore, that's one I'd actually love to use, and it's crazy how those things still have. Oh yeah, it's crazy how those things still have like so much value. They're still like expensive markers.
Now they are probably my most hated cocker.
Why?
I can't stand the milling on them.
Yeah, okay. So it's the appearance thing.
Yeah, completely. When I first started working for Eclipse, 2003, 2004, one of my first gigs was to go to Wargame Products in California and help them install E-blades, teach them how to set up the E-blades on, the carnivores and stuff like that. I stayed with Sonny Lopez, so this is my story to counter your story.
Yeah, let's hear it. Whip it out. This is a lot more official.
I lived in his cupboard under the stairs for a week.
Harry Potter style.
Way before Potter had anything going on.
Nice.
So, yeah, proper cupboard under the stairs.
Yeah. Shout out to that being a thing too, because I think that was my first electronic gun. Was my 04. Yeah, my 04. Was it Pro Stock? Was that what it was originally, or what was the first?
There were a few different ones, because at that time we used to make E-blades in the UK for the Eclipse guns, and then Wargames were licensed to make E-blades for the Wargame guns.
Yep.
And I remember the US ones that Wargames made had the Wargames logo on the serial number.
Yep.
So,
and
fun.
Did the front part of the three-way, did they all have E on it too, or were there W's on some of those?
There were W's on some.
There were
E's on some and W's on some. You're right.
Yeah, that's deep. Yeah, I had what was the era that had the little plastic cover? Like the last era that had the plastic cover. It was like 03, right? 03, 04?
Yeah.
So I had the mech, one of those, the blue one.
Right.
And then upgraded it to get the E-blade on there, and had a local shop drill out the hole for the eyes, and it was a process, but it was such a cool feeling to upgrade that to electronic. And so shout out to you guys for making that a thing then, because that was on the receiving end of that. I felt really cool to have that E-blade, and it was like a really great upgrade to the kit. So
I remember drilling those cocker bodies, and we had this template that you would literally, you take out the frame screws, you remove the original frame, and then you bolt this kind of template onto the actual cocker body, and then hold it in it was a jig basically to drill through.
Yeah.
Scariest moments of my life.
Yeah.
Ruining someone's Westwood cocker. Right. So, but yeah, fun.
Yeah, minimize risk of damaging it, at least with that jig.
So carnivores on the list? Any carnivore?
Sure, on the list. Any carnivore. I mean, ideally the black and yellow black style.
I knew you were going to say that. Damn black and yellow.
I'd mess with the black, all black. I'd mess with the red. Any color would be fine. I'm not too picky on the carnivore side of things. Well, a few things I'd be picky on. So Naughty Dogs, despite them being a local team out here, I've never been big fans of them. Okay. For a handful of reasons. Not trying to throw shade on anyone, but they just never were a big team that I enjoyed.
You're a cat guy, as the Ion told us, right?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, I was a Miami Effect guy. I really liked Miami Effect. Okay. They were some of the nicest guys. I have multiple Miami Effect jerseys that I still wear. Jake Stewart gave me a Miami Effect jersey from Ziggy Moonbeam that he got from Brian Moorhead. He did a design for, and ended up getting a Moonbeam jersey, and gave me Ziggy Moonbeam, one of my all-time favorite players. Gator Glaze.
Imagine that Ziggy and Jay Stu would be pretty decent soulmates.
Right? Yeah, I could see that, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good setup. Anyway, I still rock Effect jerseys time to time. But let's see. last but not least on that list, oh God, it's actually really tough. There's just too many of them to really iron in on.
Still have a list.
Like a Naughty Dog freestyle.
Okay.
I had a freestyle for a while and I didn't really like it, but when it shot great, but it was a lot of problems. Like I thought the Naughty Dog freestyles looked good. Same with the Naughty Dog Timmy. And then there's yeah, they were always pretty sick. The little pop on there. But I'm going to finish off with a list because I could drag on for it. But my first Uprising GT clone, MacDev clone GT, had a rear float anode to it, and it was like, I love the oracles that had that root beer float, so it was inspired by that, and it just shot so great and was such a pretty marker, and I sold it and haven't seen it like floating around anywhere, but I would love to have that one back.
Oh, you don't know who owns it?
No, I don't remember how I sold it or where it went or any details on it, but that was just kind of the end of the season. We'd always just offload our markers and didn't really follow it that closely.
How many hats would you trade to get that back?
36.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There we go. Right, public service announcement. If you can find that marker, then you've got 36 hats coming your way.
Yep, and don't think you can just take another clone GT and do that to it. I'll be able to tell which one it is. It's gotta be the exact one. If I touch it, it doesn't have that feel.
I like it.
I actually have a thread on PB Nation that is in like the want. That's just has a list of the whole like setup of what I'm looking for over there. So, because lots of like old Dynasty markers I'm into, like old Smart Parts stuff,
nice.
like a handful of cockers. Like really like the list. I'm not too picky on it. I just like holding paintball markers,
Yeah.
Having them back there.
The super cool thing is a lot of these things turn up this side of the pond, and people are just like, yeah, I need hats, so we can make that happen.
Let's make it happen. I'm out here. I'm ready for it. Yeah, it's funny.
Let's get churning.
Slowly spread out of the States. I know Canada always had the weirdest, like we'd see like a System X Enemy, and then like the Quest, all those like just like random paintball guns. These people are just like, man, do you know what that is? Like I don't know. Yeah, it's funny seeing all those random ones making them out there. So
it's mad. I had a trip to South Africa in, I want to say May last year, and in the bargain bin in this store were 86 sandanas in packaging.
And you bought all 86, right?
Yes, sir.
You're living off those still, right?
They went within a week, 2 weeks. So
yeah, shout out to how crazy that the head game world is in paintball. It's definitely that's a documentary right there. That like someone could dive into that because it's crazy seeing those tree trunk bandanas selling for hundreds, if not thousands. Like I've seen so many of those. Like people like don't know what they have. And like, dude, I'll buy that for $100 right now. I'm like $100, sure, take it. What?
100%.
And then you go and turn it on PV Nation for $700-$800.
Ridiculous.
Crazy. Yeah. The only club I've ever had was I used to wear Venomware jerseys all the time while playing. I had a tan Flying Skull Venomware jersey. And I sold it. I forget, like maybe $200 or something like that, $300. Like okay price for a jersey. That I promise you. That same day, I went to my childhood. Like it's like an accessory store, like a appliance store. They sell refrigerators and beds and all this stuff in my hometown. But they also like will fill your paintball or fill your air tanks, and they sell paintballs and have like some piranhas and random stuff up there. On their wall, they had a brand new, untouched green Flying Skull Venomware jersey that had been sitting on top of this shelf. My entire paintball career. And I noted I've been in there 100 times at this point and just never really registered what it was until that day. And it's $20, maybe 25 for this old school untouched brand new unboxed Venomware jersey.
Wow.
And it's come up. So that's not 86 whatever sandanas in the bargain bin, but Venomware.
Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, right?
Yeah, that was a win that day.
Yeah.
And they sold the other Venomware, so weird universal situation there.
No, I love it. I love it. Like you say, headgear's where it's at, though. So this is super interesting times. Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for your time, bud. So really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. And all you guys, check out FindlayHats.com or be an alligator wrestler because that's where it's at.
Or both.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, is there room for another alligator wrestler?
Well, at least if someone sends us a photo wearing one of our hats, alligator wrestling, we'll send you a hat free of charge. Maybe add you to the sponsorship list if you're good at it. You know? Yeah.
I say that's not good enough. If somebody sends a photo of the alligator wearing a hat whilst it's being wrestled, then that warrants a free gift.
Yeah, and if to de-escalate that, if you send us a picture of a dog wearing a hat, we'll put it on our Instagram page. So, we have the full spectrum, for you guys out there.
Absolutely love it. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Take care, Nicky T. Good luck out there, and hey, enjoy your slumber. I got to get back to work, I guess.
Enjoy.
I will. Alrighty, adios.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it, buddy.